Greetings, Earthlings! Cardboard Colin here, and we are back with the Nerdy Nostalgia Presents podcast. We've been on hiatus for a while, and I felt it was high time we regenerated the podcast. So we're now streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram. So super exciting. First time. This is a real test. It's the first time we're trying to do it. Hopefully we won't annoy you too much. Obviously don't watch us if we're annoying. Today, call blimey, I'm joined by my compadre, my companion, good old Marvelous Action Figures, Paul Sherman. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the TARDIS again.
The future has arrived. This all new, spangly, sparkling, brand new, toy-filled TARDIS, a visual feast for your eyes and hopefully a delight for your ears, has arrived. This is very exciting.
It is very exciting. I can see on Instagram that we've got a couple of chums already watching. We've got
Hello, chums.
Nicholas and Katie and my wonderful husband. He's joined.
Hello. Oh, yeah.
So that's exciting. Anyway, so today, Paul, it's not going to be a super long one, but we're going to have a go and see how this works. There's going to be a few spoilers maybe, and it's going to be super fun. We're also going to have plenty of tea.
A good cup of tea. Superheated infusion of free radicals and tannin, just the thing for heating the synapses.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So we've got a nice cup of tea. You got your tea there, Paul?
I have a nice cup of tea in my Avengers Ready for Action mug.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's get started then. Get your tea ready. We'll have a nice little chat in our TARDIS. So, we're going to start off talking about an Overwho of Doctor Who.
So smart. So smart.
Yeah, I'm king of the puns, so it's super exciting. But an Overwho of Doctor Who. So we're going to talk about really the relaunch from when Russell T Davies took back over. So when 13 shocked us all by regenerating into
14 into 10.
14, David Tennant 14, when we all thought it was going to be Cutie Newty.
Shooty Gatwa.
Yeah, so, and we're going to cover briefly the specials, because we have talked about them before on the actual podcast.
Yeah.
And our thoughts really into the Christmas special and then season 1.
Yeah. And call it season 1. Do you want some nerd stats?
Go for it, dude. You're the king of nerds.
You know, this is our favourite bit from our TARDIS podcast days.
Go on then, Paul. Give us some nerd stats.
Would you like to know what actual season number this is in official canon, Colin?
Yes, I would.
It's number 40. Big round 40 in one hit. Season 40 has arrived.
Wow. Season 40? That's mad.
Season 40. I know, because it didn't add a hiatus for many years as well. It's it went from 89 to 96 with nothing. Then 96, one episode, a special, and then another 9 years after that as well. And do you want to know how many episodes that is in total?
That to me could be like my next question.
Have a guess.
800.
883. That's not a bad guess.
Wow.
Yes.
Pretty awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
Would you like to know, if you watch them back to back, how long? Obviously, it would take you less time because you are a time traveler in the TARDIS. Yeah. But for us normos, how much time do you think that would take to watch those episodes back to back?
So there's 886 episodes.
83.
83. Most of them are half an hour until probably the last 200.
Yeah.
So, and now you're all 45. I don't. Maths isn't really my point.
Physics and time travel is your strong point. Massive 21 days, 22 and a half hours.
Wow.
3 weeks.
Stato.
So that is what I'll be doing with my remaining annual leave. Watching them all in one go back all the way through. So there you go. I'd love to get us going with a few little nerdy stats. It's been so long since we've done TARDIS trivia.
You are such a nerd.
I'm such a nerd.
Okay, well that is exciting. So thank you for that, Paul.
Anytime.
Those wonderful stats. But I'm sure the wonderful nerds who might be listening to this or watching the streaming really want to know, what did we actually think of it all, and what was our thoughts on the season and the changes. So I guess first of all, give us a quick summary of what you thought of the specials first, and the run of the 14th Doctor.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was low key, actually, which on reflection is not a bad thing to do. I know nothing will top the 50th. Nothing will, and I say that as someone who's been watching Doctor Who since 1979. So nothing, in fact, a little before that. So nothing will top those 50th anniversary ones. The 60th was a bit more low key. I don't think that's a bad thing, because I don't think it's been in a particularly great space in the last 5 years or so. I don't put any of that blame on Jodie Whittaker, because I think she was an outstanding Doctor. We said that loads of times. We were on record saying that loads of times. Let down by storylines, let down by the BBC just moving it around, wherever, not having a home, having a place. So I think low key worked. You didn't need excitement in the episodes, because you had Big DT himself and Catherine Tate coming back. So that on its own was a treat. David was as good as ever. I think, being a bit critical, I think RTD has forgotten how to tie storylines together and pull the strands of things together, because he seems to tease a lot and then forget a lot. And that was very much the theme of the 15th one, 15th Doctor as well, unfortunately. But really good to have some enjoyable Who that made sense, was watchable, left you enough to want more, and didn't leave me lamenting anything we had before. Let me move past that. And my ultimate thing really was, and I don't know what you think about it, I would like to know, I was shocked that he kept everything that Chibnall did. He lent into it entirely. He didn't try and retcon it. He didn't try and forget it or find a clever mechanism to undo it all. He just embraced it. Yeah, I'm not actually from Gallifrey. Yeah, half the universe is gone and destroyed. And he just went with it. And I kind of admire him for that. As much as I don't like that, my personal headcanon, I admire him for doing it. But what do you think of that?
I mean, first of all, my general feeling was it felt comfy. It felt like Doctor Who again. And I think over the, and this isn't, slagging off old Doctor Who and the previous showrunners too much. I don't really want to waste time doing that. But definitely since RTD left with the 10th Doctor, the show evolved, and I love Matt Smith's run. I still think Matt Smith was brilliant. Was one of the best Doctors as well.
He's actually a better Doctor than David Tennant in terms of
I think so.
A Doctor.
Yeah, he played
staggeringly good.
And Moffat's fantastic at writing the old stories, but as it went on, it got more convoluted. It got more trapped up in its own canon and storytelling, and the stories just became too complicated. And even though they became more for us, which is fine in some respect, but it definitely lost the wider audience.
Yeah.
And then it just went weird. I hate, obviously, with the things like Matt Lucas's character and some of those.
Yeah, Nordal, yeah.
Awful. And by the time you got to Jodie, and again, this isn't a slight on any of the actors, because all of them did a great job with their versions of the Doctor. But by the time you got to Jodie, we all know what we think of the writing and the direction of the show by that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like a completely unwatchable. There was no joy to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't memorable. It wasn't fun. It was a hard slog to watch mostly.
We found it as a chore. It was like, You know, the start of Family Guy when they did the 3 Star Wars episodes, and there's a power cut, and they got to it was the last one, the lights when they were like, oh, okay, you know what? We just got to get through this. It was just like the completest thing was like, I just got to sit through 44 minutes of this and just deal with it. And it's awful to think I could have had a very nice bath in that time, done anything a lot more enjoyable than watch that absolute hokum. But he stopped bothering. Jim will stop bothering to explain things, and we don't need loads of exposition because that's what bogs down old Doctor Who. 4 episodes of 25 minutes. You know, we talked about this in the past. He spent a lot of time in the prison cell, one whole episode in a prison cell, wasn't even in some of them. So much exposition. Russell T Davies cut through that. He gave us the psychic paper to make it quick to get around everywhere, and a sonic screwdriver that could do everything. But Jim will just stopped explaining stuff. So you're right, we're back to comfy, it's watchable, we feel we're in a bit of a safe space again with it.
And that was a very long-winded way of saying I liked it, and but it felt comfortable. But I also wasn't overwhelmed by, or I don't know. It didn't quite hit what I wanted to, because I think the biggest issue I had was this was the 60th anniversary, and I wanted those 3 specials to be amazing, and do something amazing, and you could argue that, you know, the last one introduced, and obviously this is all spoilers, everyone, spoilers 3T.
Too late now.
I can't press a button, but obviously it just didn't feel like the actual episode. Felt like just episodes in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
I didn't feel, you know, the first 2 particularly.
Oh, definitely. The middle one was that the middle one was like he used to do the Doctor Light ones, because for those who don't know, the Doctor Light episodes came about because they added a Christmas special every year, and it meant the schedules were so tight that they needed to do an episode without either the Doctor or the companion, and so you got a stripped down small scale episodes, not a lot of set or budget or things behind it. And then episode 2 was absolutely that, wasn't it? The middle special.
So unfortunately, I felt a little bit underwhelmed while I was watching them, because especially if you compare it to the 50th.
That's the trouble, and that's why I didn't.
And that was amazing. That was amazing.
I've set such a low bar with Doctor Who, but to be honest, the last few years I've set my expectations levels before going to anything. Marvel movie, Marvel TV series, new Star Wars, new Doctor Who, a new toy, whatever it might be. I set my expectation level realistically to not allow myself to be overhyped, and I never got a sense that the 60th was going to be. I think that's because you remember back in the day it was the big thing. There was a leak and an announcement every week. It was so popular. Every top level actor of the day wanted to be in Doctor Who and wanted to, you know, make an appearance in it, and there was always so much noise around it. But he didn't get that with the 60th one, and I think he deliberately wanted to keep it low key just to do what actually we've thought of it. Oh, this is comfortable. Oh, I like this again. Oh, this is really, it will become a appointment viewing by not being massive event television. And I think it works. I think it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The specials ended with bringing in a brand new Bi-Generation, and it was an interesting, completely different approach to what's gone before, and I think it's also set the tone to how Russell T Davies is treating Doctor Who now. He's very maverick with it.
Very maverick.
I think he's in this. He's almost in like a bulletproof mode. I think he feels like the way he's coming across is he's going to do what he wants to do, and he's going to do it, and he's not going to really care what anyone else says, and you like it or lump it, this is what he's doing. And that really started with the Children in Need special as well.
Oh, and he doubled down on it, and he said, this is Davos now. Tough, deal with it.
Yeah.
This is Davos. This is my view on Davos, which is ironically a very different view to the one he had when he first took the series on in his interview in 2012, saying Davos is the greatest character ever, and we wanted exactly the same look for him. So I don't know what. Yes, he's allowed to change his mind. Obviously, he's allowed to change his mind, but he's actively trolling now in his episodes. He's not even hiding that fact, to be honest. He's actively trolling, and he's actually bringing in a different generation of fans now, which I don't have a problem with, because I don't have any sense of entitlement over Doctor Who. I don't think anyone should have any sense of entitlement over any program or movie. It's not my story to tell, it's mine to watch. So I don't blame him for doing that. I do wonder though, do you think Tennant insisted that he got to wear the trousers? Because Shooty's got way better legs than Tennant. He's way got the physique over Tennant. I think he probably insisted that he had his legs out on the show. Which is the right choice.
That might have been some of Russell's choice, to be fair.
Fair point.
But having said that, I mean, Shooty rocks the chest anyway in the new season.
He does. He's such a cool dude.
On Instagram, our friend Nicholas Reddy Cosplay Loading just said, "Bring back River," and mentioned that incredible Doctor. I think he's talking about Matt Smith. So
yeah,
totally agree.
That is the one thing that I do regret we didn't get in the 60th. Is because Smith, like Tennant, is still of an age where he will still look exactly like. I know they brought back older Doctors and it's fine, they explain it easily, but he still looks enough to have actually played the 11th Doctor at that time. And I know Russell actually didn't want to go that way. I think he wanted to go, we're going forwards. Here's your comfortable Doctor. Here's your new Doctor. And I'm going to fix the new Doctor so he doesn't start. He's not PTSD'd like Eccleston. He's not having to face like a character we met in the past to remind him why he saves people. How they explained Capaldi being in the fires of Pompeii as Caecilius, and then obviously looking as he did. So I don't blame him for that, but yeah, Matt Smith, 100% agree with you. I'd love to see him back in the tweed and the bow tie. The bow ties are cool, and so are fezzes.
Bow ties are always cool.
Bow ties are very cool.
All right, so let's get into the actual Christmas special and Newty's 15th Doctor and season 1 then.
Are you going to make sure the whole way through you never get his name right?
No, because that's part of my charm.
Cool.
How do you say it?
Shooty Gatwa.
I saw a thing where he said that he didn't realise that you do say the N, and then
Shooty.
So
Nashuti.
I like to call him Cutie anyway.
Yeah, well, he's a cutie. There's no argument with that one.
He's a cutie little
He's
face.
a fine-looking fellow.
Anyway, let's talk about Cutie and his season and what happened over that. So we had a Christmas special in 8 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just? I know you love doing a summary of what actually. I know you love it. So just tell us Just give us a summary of what that story was.
So the storyline evolved around 2 key strands to it. Who is Ruby Sunday? And we know that she was abandoned outside a church at Christmas, and we knew nothing about her. And they built a mysterious thread around who her mother might be and why she was abandoned. And why does it always snow wherever they are when they feel back to that moment? And then the actual themes, the threads that RT deals, he likes to thread in. He likes to have a strand running through the stories to tie all together at the end. Was the reintroduction of a number of ancient gods that the Doctor has come across in the past, and we tease that with the Toy Maker in the Giggle, and we then had Maestro in the Devil's Cord episode, and all of it led to a very, very cool, very differently visual representation, which I hated this time around, of an incredibly cool character from the past and a very fearsome further Doctor, which is Sutek, the God of Death from 1974's The Pyramid of Mars, which is a tremendous set of episodes. The Sutek voiced by the incredible Gabriel Wolf, who at 93 years old came back to voice Sutek this time, and he was the voice of the Beast in 2006's The Satan Pit and Possible Planet. So the thread
I can't
was
believe he came back. I can't believe
so
how
good.
he sounded.
It's amazing. He sounded fantastic. Incredible. It's so nice. He's still, it's not been horrible. He's still around to do that. But hey, because it just keeps that little continuity. That's a little nod back for fans from the past. And if you go and watch those episodes again, which are available on the iPlayer, then you can have that little connectivity with it all. So bringing back ancient gods who have been there the whole time throughout the Doctor's history, and who is Ruby Sunday, were the themes of the episodes. And you say one special, 8 episodes, very different episodes, very, very clear and obvious social themes in each of the episodes, which RTD likes to do very well. But again, much like Star Trek, Doctor Who has been a voice of social conscience in its episodes. And there is your summary of this season 1/40.
Well, Paul, I'm very impressed with that summary. I mean, that was a very succinct and yeah, you covered it all.
It's nice to do one without sitting there and going, it was rubbish. I hate every moment of it. Crap, get rid of Jim.
On Instagram, we've got a few comments. Feral Boy J, who I don't know who that is, but hello, Feral Boy J. He says, talk about Toymaker's return. So I'm going to pick up a comment on that in a second. And again, Ready Cosplay Loading said again, eat the baby with some salt, which is obviously one of the lines from the Goblin
the Goblin King
song.
Yeah, Church on Ruby Road.
Yeah, that was brilliant. So let's pick up the point that Feral Boys just said. So what I found really interesting, and like I said, this is all total spoilers. We're all over the place here. This is the way my brain works. We just go from the
Look, if you're diving into this, you're not here for non-spoiler reviews. That time's past.
And we're getting all timey-wimey. So what I found really intriguing is, as much as this is a relaunch, effectively, it's season 1. It's now on Disney, and there should be this whole new audience, and there's definitely a lot that's changed with the show to make it feel like it's got a more of a different target audience than previous. Not saying it's trying to exclude the old audience, but you can see how it's evolving and adapting for a new audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they've pulled 2 classic Doctor Who characters already, villains from not exactly. I mean,
in recent history,
Doctor Who episode, but the Toymaker was he wasn't exactly a big name or anything before.
No. And those episodes don't actually exist anymore. You can't watch the Celestial Toymaker because they're one of the very few that are missing, and they've had to digitally reanimate them and then put the audio track against it.
So I guess there's 2 points. And what did you think of the use of those 2 characters? And also, it makes me think every season is going to be
similar.
Yeah, and like I saw a really good theory for who Mrs. Flood might be, and one of them is that it could be the god of time, who's the sister of the Celestial Toymaker in the Big Finish audiobooks, which was based on a script that was written
and then never
for the
used.
show, but was never actually made. God, blimey, look at me and some knowledge there.
Nerd.
Nerd. So
I hand over the nerd crown and I dub the King Nerd.
That's all. It's all me watching too much YouTube. Yeah. So, what do you think of that, Paul? I mean, were you happy? Well, first of all, were you happy with the choice of those characters to choose? And do you think they did it well? Was it a good idea? Bad idea?
I thought Neil Patrick Harris was awesome as the Toymaker. Really, really good. Really clever. I don't mind the choices because I think it's a good way of hooking old viewers in. They're safe choices. Then there's no endless canon to undo there. You know, they're not Davos, for example. There's no endless canon to undo there. I'm not convinced entirely that he'll do that every season, because I'm not sure he wants to get into a greatest hits medley conversation. He might well, but also he's excellent, and because he's an ultra who nerd all his life as well, he is excellent at picking characters you never think to bring back. Like, you know,
even a Meep is
even
a character.
Yeah, and he's what he's really good at is he world build, but he'll go, this is the type of character I want in this episode. Have we got anything like that in Who history? Yes, we have. And then he'll use that character. So if he's going to do Blast from the Past, I think they'll all be low key. I think he'll keep it all low key in that level. Whether he'll build to a big bad every time, he might, because to be fair, he did all the time before. It's the Daleks or the Master or the Cybermen anyway, so he might do that. He actually hasn't given us as many of the old school Who villains as the other writers have. You know, Moffat brought back the Sea Devils, and he introduced Weeping Angels and brought them back, and he brought a lot of the older ones back, Silurians. So he might do that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with his choices this time, because also he got great actors and actresses to portray them as well, and that always works.
I mean, and I know that when he cosplayed, Aidan just said, you know, I think he's talking about Mrs. Flood. You know, she was so good, wish she had more screen time. So that's
she'll definitely be back. She was in much the same way that he teased John Sim, the Master, Harold Saxon. He's only had 8 episodes this time as well, don't forget. So on a 13 episode series, you'd have probably seen more of her. She'll be back because he loves good old Angie Watts. He loves her.
He does. He loves a soap opera. I'm sure there's more Coronation Street to come as well.
Definitely.
On Instagram, we've also been joined by the wonderful Sherman Sarah.
Oh, hi. She's saying keep the noise down.
Yeah, she's saying no, she hasn't actually said anything, but again, she might have just popped in and then got really bored and run away again.
Won't because of me.
Yeah. So that's so. I think. Let's talk about Ruby. What? I mean, obviously that was the other big storyline. I just felt it was that there was too much misdirection and trying to make something out of nothing. I just felt it there were things that they put in and then they didn't really pay off.
I agree.
And I think I can see why, and I can see the intention and the fun of it, and definitely, first of all, the Doctor lies and Russell T Davies lies, and we know that.
Yeah.
We expect it. We don't expect the truth of them, and Russell T Davies loves to give us the wrong impression. He blatantly made it sound like when Rose Noble was character was initially announced, he made one thing that was going to be Rose Tyler, a new version of Rose Tyler, and he purposely did it. We know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I just wish that. They did something a bit more of it.
I totally agree with you. 100% agree with you on that. I think the biggest frustration with it is, and I know, and you would have seen the Doctor Who Unleashed the last episode as well, where he said he hated what Rian Johnson did with Rey in Last Jedi, he hated when J.J. Abrams undid what Rian Johnson did. He loved Rian Johnson saying, you know, the whole thing, who were her parents, who was her family, and he just went, they're nobody. He hated when J.J. undid it, and that's deliberately why he did it for Ruby Sunday, which I would have no problem with, apart from the fact his execution of it made absolutely 0 sense all the way through. And I know he's going, she's coming back, we'll get to it. I think he's almost got to do that, because he's like, oh, fucking hell, I missed a lot and missed a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Why is it snowing for no reason when there's nothing that
If
would?
there's nothing supernatural to do,
Nothing would create that. Nothing would create that.
So look, we're not going to break down all the different episodes either. But do you want to just what was your maybe top 2, top 3 episodes?
I liked the idea behind 73 yards. I particularly like all the memes of Rishi Sunak's wife being behind him at Downing Street and all the 73 yards. They're genius. The first person that came up with that is a genius. And if I had a hat on, I would take it off to you right now and tip it my
Give him a chef's kiss.
It was horrendous. It was horrendously funny. It was chef's kiss. It was fantastic. I didn't know. I like Space Babies was okay for a good start. No episode stood out for me. I like the idea behind Rogue. I didn't like the ending to it. The best thing of all of them was Bushuti all the way through, as in he just fell into the Doctor fantastically well. I loved what happened in Empire of Death, but I know we've had this conversation before, and any long-term Who fan will know there was no way on earth that was ever going to stick. And Russell T.
As soon as more than 1 or 2 people died, it was pretty clear.
He's the worst at the reset, and he doesn't just reset; he just makes it so it just never happened in the first place. He leaves no consequence to what happened. He just undoes, killed half the human race in when the Master came back with the Toclophane, undid it all. He just done the extermination of Daleks on Earth, although Moffat obviously undid that by putting the Cracking Time in place. Just left no consequence to stuff, and it was a really poor finish on what was a really good episode up to that. It's more like the ones I didn't like. Actually, do you know what? Weirdly, the one I liked the most thing about it was the Devil's Cord. I think it was really. She was excellent as the Maestro was fantastic. I love the beat. I love the music. I don't like, but I do like the fourth wall breaking and the song. And it was somewhat totally different. And the only thing I don't like about the whole series is that he changes his costume every single time, his outfit every single time. And whilst he looks beautiful in anything he wears, you've got to find the Doctor. You've got to find the Doctor's clothing is so important to the essence of that character. And it happened to Capaldi. Capaldi was let down by constant clothing changes all the way through. You never got the essence of him as a character.
His hair changed a lot as well.
And he went giant afros and 15th century bouffants tied back in ponytails. I was like, well, where's that coming from? But RTD doesn't give a monkeys anymore. He just gets on with it. And I was like, you know what?
Doing what he was doing.
He's doing what he was. I was like, just go with it.
One of the best ones I felt was the Bridgerton episode, whatever one that was called.
Rogue, yeah.
I liked the 73 yards.
73 yards, yeah.
And then
did you find that the Rogue one had so many similarities to The Girl in the Fireplace with Madame Pompadour?
Yeah, well, to be honest, quite a lot of them felt familiar. Like probably the one I liked the least was Dot and Bubble. And obviously, after when you watch it at the end and you realise like the whole racism story, element to it and that kind of thing. It's great. Some messages there, but I just felt the story felt like I'd seen it a million times.
Yeah. The messages were
rubbish
fine.
episode of what's it called? What's that program? The one.
Don't know. There's so many to choose from. Black Mirror.
Sorry, Black Mirror.
Yeah, Charlie Brooke, Black Mirror. Yeah.
A lower episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah. What was frustrating with that episode though is it would have. He's actually got the message. There's no issue with the messages, but it would have worked more if you actually cared about the main character. But she was vile from day one.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a real switch to me. When she stitched up a pop singing hero.
Yeah.
And said he was, he changed his name so alphabetically order he goes. that was awful. But she was already horrible before that. I already wanted her
She
to
wasn't
die
right.
immediately. So it wasn't the switch that he wanted because he made her so unlikable all the way through.
Yeah.
Which I know was the point, but also the point was to pull the rug out from under everyone on it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad she died. She died eventually anyway, so good.
Yeah.
Screw her. She deserved it. Idiot.
Okay, so winding this up, let's look to the future. I've just seen a message from Ready Cosplay Loaded again, saying that the only thing they can think of is that Ruby's dad will be some kind of supernatural presence, and I think that's a good point. You know, just because the mother turned out to be nobody, we don't know who the dad was.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
and
good point.
there's a real, that might actually then explain all of these gripes that we've got.
Yeah.
Because that the dad could be quite happy.
Something has to, I think, to explain that.
It really depends on how much Ruby's going to come back. If she's just going to, if she comes back in the way that Martha came back for like an episode or two, then I don't see anything majorly happening.
No, I mean, I know he says it almost looks like she is full companion, but he didn't want to end it quite rightly with her going off straight off for the TARDIS again because he just found her whole family, which was the entire point of her being in that.
I like the end of her story. I didn't have any issues with it around that. It just felt a bit flat compared to what they were trying to do with it. And
yeah, I'm more convinced, given the fact that he wanted the normality of it, that he won't make her dad anyone's, but he might. But I'm not convinced he will, because that would undo everything he's just said about why he went the way he did. But then he's a liar.
He lies.
He's a troll, so who knows?
He lies. We've already discovered this.
Her dad is Rassilon.
So, anything else you're hoping for from season 2?
Keep the fun. Get Shooty in a recognisable outfit. That brown check suit with the orange top, or the long brown leather jacket with the rainbow top. Either of them, perfect. The Doctor will get better in a long coat.
There's a really nice piece of art with that costume.
There is. I'm not sure where you can get that piece of art, but you maybe can tell us in a minute where you can get that piece of art.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe it's on this screen.
Yeah. I guess
What do you want to see?
To be honest, I just want to see more of the same. I'm happy. I'm happy with the direction of the show. I think he's amazing. I think he's a brilliant Doctor.
Agree.
I think he's just going to get better. I'm really looking forward to the new companion. I think I think she'll be good as well.
Yeah.
She was strong in Andor. She's good. She was good in the episode she was in.
She was, yeah.
Oh, to be honest, actually, Boom was probably one of my favourite episodes.
I didn't mind it.
Moffat, I think, did a great. It wasn't like the most exciting episode, but I thought it was well written, really well written.
He did his typical good. Well, it was a twist you could see coming, but it was still a twist at the end. That the bad guys are actually the corporations, are actually the big business of war. Yeah.
Okay. So look, that's Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
We've done that to death. Before we fly away in the TARDIS and go somewhere exciting, any other things you want to mention? Any other things you've been watching or geeking out about recently, Paul?
Not a massive amount. It's sort of in the nerdy, but it's more sort of pop culture. I watched the new Beverly Hills Cop, which I really liked.
I've heard it's pretty good.
You can watch it.
Game changing or something new, but
you can watch it. It feeds enough from the classic first 2 movies. It's got some nice little touches in there. There's enough of old school. It's a fun movie. I'm watching that. I am enjoying The Acolyte. I think that's good. And as someone who's not like total Star Wars canon, I've always just been in movies, live action stuff. It's great. I've not had a problem with it at all. I know some people have, but I haven't.
I've got a question come through, Paul. This is going to test the nerdy Doctor Who nerd.
Oh dear, this is you now. You're the king nerd.
And again, this is Ready Cosplay loading again. Correct me if it was explained in the series, but who was the person who picked up the gold tooth? That's a mystery. I don't think that was answered, was it?
No, not answered. No, it's very similar to the Master's ring at the end of Last of the Time Lords, when it then led into the End of Time parts 1 and 2, where we did see, and again, that was a very nondescript person. That was just a prison officer from the prison that he was in, from the cult of Saxon, that brought him back. So no, not disclosed yet. More than likely to be picked up in series 2. Well, the thing with RTD, he doesn't do things like that without a payoff.
Yeah, but it's going to build to something.
He's certainly forgotten a few strands with Ruby, unless he does come back to him and play the long game. But that said, he doesn't do things like the tooth without a reason. But no, in answer to the question, you are not wrong. You do not need to be corrected. It has not been picked up yet. Good spot. And if you want to speculate what you think it is, tell us. Yeah. Join in.
And you can also email me at cardboardcolin@nerdynostalgia.com. If anyone wants to send us an email, I'm going to have to make a little banner for that. I guess that's something to write on my list. Paul,
yeah.
Things to do.
Banner you up.
Things to do. I'll put the email address on. But yeah, email me cardboardcolin@nerdynostalgia.com if you want to drop us an email. Obviously, we're on Instagram Live, Facebook, YouTube. You can leave comments here. You can direct message us. We're happy to have that.
I love other people's speculation, because generally they come up with something that I've not even thought of, and it's really cool.
Yeah. But just circling back to what you were talking about, Paul. So I haven't seen Beverly Hills Cop, but I obviously have seen Acolyte.
Yes, do you like Star Wars?
You might notice. I'm absolutely loving Acolyte. I don't know why anyone's moaning about it. I just think it's fun.
Because it's Star Wars and everyone's got their story in their head, and they're just old curmudgeons that are entitled over Star Wars. That's my view on it anyway.
Yeah, look, again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I am absolutely...
But theirs are wrong and yours is right.
Yeah, well, obviously that goes without saying. So I'm enjoying that. But the one thing I did want to highlight, because I know not many people watch it at all, and I know you're one of those people, is Star Trek Prodigy. Now, obviously, the first series was aired on Paramount Plus, and it was all part of the big, home of Star Trek, Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
When they did the big launch, and they created about 1 million Star Trek shows all at once. And then obviously the streaming service didn't do as well as they wanted it to, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah.
And they just completely cancelled, even though season 1 had just been dropped, and it was also a co-production with Nickelodeon. And then they made season 2, and just before it had been released, Paramount Plus decided they were binning off, and this was right before the big anniversary that they were going to be celebrating, Star Trek anniversary. They just binned off season 1. They just took it off, so you can't even watch it. It's not even like they were going to commission anymore.
Strong start.
And then they decided they weren't even going to air season 2, even though it was pretty much finished.
Is that for they can do like Warner Brothers did with Batgirl and
but
just to recoup the tax?
Yeah, but the creators, and obviously there was a massive campaign, Save Star Trek Prodigy #, and it got shopped around, and Netflix have actually bought it. So Netflix put season 1 on around Christmas. They put it onto Netflix.
Oh, is this still on there?
Yeah, and season 2 has just come out last week.
Oh.
So
the whole season?
The whole season, 20 episodes. So you've got 2 seasons on there now. And what I just wanted to tell people is, yes, it's a cartoon. Yes, it was a combo made by Nickelodeon alongside Paramount. But this show is fantastic. It's brilliant. The animation's great. It's probably a bit more Clone Wars, the animation.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's watchable.
It follows a group of kids, which again I know is going to put people off initially, and alien kids in the middle of nowhere.
Stupid alien kids.
And they basically
they get into scrapes.
The plot is they find a ship. It's got and they're being held down by this evil bloke. They find a ship, and basically the ship is a Federation ship that's been lost. It's got a hologram captain, emergency captain, and that is Janeway from Voyager.
A cartoon about a group of kids who tore around in a vehicle catching the bad guys. They got a dog.
Got a dog. No,
Okay, no dog.
aliens. But basically, that is only the start of a story. It soon becomes Star Trek Voyager Part 2. It's so connected to Voyager. Okay. If you're a fan of Voyager,
I was a fan of Voyager,
and also it's the only show that's actually set in the current timeline, following on from Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine. So this is, a few years later. Obviously, Janeway's an admiral, but this is the period before, in Picard, where Mars gets attacked. Yeah, and you have the flashbacks to Picard when he was still an admiral.
When he's doing
that time.
Oh, okay.
And they even reference, what's happening with.
You've got a recognisable time period there. That's useful. That's good.
Yeah, and it's the time, and it's also the same time as Lower Deck, which is also being cancelled, unfortunately, in season 5. But
there's a trouble if it's being cancelled at some point. How invested do you get in it?
All I can tell people is watch the show, give it a chance, get past. I would say the first episode is harder to watch because it's just setting everything up and it doesn't really get into the Star Trek bit of it.
Yeah.
But honestly, this show is so good, and it is for kids, but it's also for adults. And I think it's a great show for people new to Star Trek because it really introduces a lot of the themes and the technobabble and all that kind of stuff and makes it accessible because these alien kids don't know any of it either.
Okay.
So it's quite a good way to bring it in. But honestly, it's really good. And like I say, if you have any interest in Voyager, Janeway, I don't want to spoil it too much, but Chakotay and the Doctor.
You might have sold it then.
It's basically anyone who's a fan of Voyager, you've got to watch this show. But I think it's going to become more and more important. But the reason I'm saying it is it's just been dropped on Netflix. There's no fanfare. And if people don't watch it, it probably won't get a season 3.
Yeah.
And I'm desperate for it to get a season 3. I'm only into episode 5 of season 2 because I'm trying to tease out and also have no time. I'm doing things like this stupid podcast instead. But I will definitely say to people.
How long is each episode?
About 30 minutes.
Okay. I can live with that.
But I just give it a try. And even if you're not that bothered about it, just leave it running in the background because I want a new series made.
Do you want me to thumbs up the love this, not just like it, but thumbs up it's for me. Okay.
Yeah, all you got to do is just turn it on, go and go to the toilet. I don't know, go walk the dog, leave it running in the house. You can turn the sound down, close your eyes, read a book, but just put Star Trek Prodigy on the background.
I will write to the owner of Netflix and go, I think it's a brilliant show. Make more. Don't ask me anything about it, but I'm just telling you I love it. All right, I'm on it.
But it's really rewarding if you watch it. And there's some genuinely good episodes that reference the whole of Trek. It's not just references Voyager. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's my plea.
Solid.
We are well into this episode. I think
we've got a little short one today, haven't we?
Yeah, a little short one. I can hear. Oh, come on.
I can hear the sound of a man trying to find the sound effects button.
I can hear the cloister bells, Paul.
The end of the world.
So that's obviously a good sign that it's time to wrap things up. So as we wrap things up, Paul, what would you like to plug and tell us about?
Only very quickly, you can see it right there. Marvelous Action Figures. That's on YouTube at Marvelous Action Figures, and Marvelous Action Figures with a little underscore at the end on Instagram. Just my toy nonsense, loads of action figures, toy photography, toy reviews. If you can be bothered to have a look at that, mainly shorts these days. So 21 seconds of your life to have a look at some cool action figure setups. Like, subscribe.
Amazing. All right, well, we definitely do that, and it's well worth checking out your YouTube channel because it is super fun. I would like to promote my website, nerdynostalgia.com. where you can find all of my art prints and greeting cards that I make. I've just been at London Film and Comic Con. I had an amazing time there. Saw lots of great people, lots of fantastic cosplay. Sold a few art prints and stuff. So I'd like to sell a few more if that would be pleased. So
Go and buy them. They're glorious.
Stuff, have a look
Very
at it.
clever man.
Art. It's also on all these live stream channels, so you can see my art on Instagram and on Facebook, etc. If you want to email us, as I said, drop me a line, cardboardcolin@nerdynostalgia.com. And we've also got 2 other co-hosts who will be joining us.
One of them just said hello to us on Instagram.
Oh, nice.
Lovely. Chrissy, the geek figure fan.
So,
hey.
geek figure fan, yeah, we definitely need to go and check out his YouTube channel. He just hit 1,000 subscribers, so well done.
1K. Good job.
Well done
Good
job, Judge Sexy. And we've also got a great mate with the worst Instagram handle ever, Jay.
He has changed it. To be fair to him, it is now not HCP17422 : // It is now at Spartan Dioramas, and it's his anniversary today. That's why he's not here. Happy anniversary, Jay and Ange. Hope you've had a great day. See you soon.
Right, so we're gonna head out. So all I've got to say to you now, Paul, is
here it comes.
You've been fantastic. I've been fantastic. Punch it, Chewy. Geronimo, I don't want to go.
Alonzi. Sashay away.
Sashay away. And with that final, last minute, seamless, ta-ta.